Okay. Steve, okay, so we're recording now.
Okay.
I want to go over your books again because I want this on tape because we do use these recordings, later on, for people. Okay, so your 5 books were The Beauty of What Remains, More Beautiful Than Before. Third book was More Money Than God. The fourth book was The Extraordinary Nature of Ordinary Things. And the last book was For You When I'm Gone. Now, you are, just for recording sake, you are Rabbi Steve Leder, and you are out at you're the senior rabbi of Wilshire Boulevard Temple. So we want to make sure that I have that on recording. So tell us you want to talk about that last book. Tell us about that last book.
So the most recent book, which is called For You When I'm Gone, 12 questions, 12 essential questions to tell a life story, is meant to help people create something that is called an ethical will. And it has nothing to do with probate or last will and testament. I have often been saddened by the fact that the last words our loved ones hear from us, our final word to the people we love,
Yeah.
almost always comes in the form of a last will and testament, a legalese boilerplate document written by a stranger or someone who barely knows us, and it is entirely about who gets what and when and how much. And that's our final word to people.
Yeah.
Somehow believing that the material will express the emotional. And I say that's like giving someone a picture of food. It's not going to comfort people. It's not going to sustain them. It's not going to nurture them. What do people really want? They want our life lessons. They want our story. They want our blessings. They want our encouragement. They want our love.
Yes.
And so I am advocating for people to create a different kind of document, which I call an ethical will or a legacy letter. And this book walks you through 12 questions to ask yourself and answer to help you create that. And the questions are very deliberate, in a very deliberate order, and they're meant to help us tell our story, the truth of our story. Obituaries are the facts of our lives.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if I were to say to you, I was born on June 3rd in 1960 in St. Louis Park, Minnesota,
Yeah.
that's a fact, but it really doesn't tell you anything about me.
Right.
Now, if I were to tell you when I was a little boy and the stress of my home and my parents' marriage, I would, when it got to be too much, I would get into the canoe and go out on the Minnehaha Creek and spend time alone in nature. And I still love to spend time alone in nature. Now you know a truth about me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so what we really want to leave people with is our truth, not our facts. And when we articulate our truths, we have something not only for our loved ones when we're gone, but we have something for ourselves to hold up to the light and to ask ourselves this most important, I think, of all questions, which is, okay, this is what I say is important. This is what I say I believe. This is what I say my truth is. Am I actually living that way? Or am I just pretending?
Yeah. So give us an example of a couple of the questions.
The first question is, what do you regret?
Oh, that's a biggie.
And it's the first because it requires vulnerability and humility.
Yeah.
And one of the major things we learn when we start asking about regret is that what most people regret most at the end of their lives is not something they did. It's something they didn't do.
Oh.
It's not a regret of commission, it's a regret of omission. The things they didn't say, the risk they didn't take, the time they didn't show up. That's what people regret. And because we tend to find a way to forgive ourselves for the regrets of commission, the things we do.
Yeah.
We find
Yeah.
a way, we apologize, we forgive, we're forgiven, we forgive ourselves.
Yeah.
But it's very hard to undo what was never done, or to do what is no longer possible to do. I often say to people, I've given up all hope of a better past. You regrets for what you didn't do are impossible to repair, but that doesn't make them meaningless, because they enable us to have a different future. So the first question is about regret. And then the second question is, when was a time that you led with your heart? Because why do we have so much regret? Because we let fear get in the way.
Oh, yeah.
And when we subordinate our rational mind, and we subordinate fear, and we subordinate risk to what our heart tells us, we tend to make the most important and beautiful decisions of our lives.
Huh.
The decision to marry, the decision to have children, the decision to move from St. Louis to Minneapolis, the decision to leave home, whatever it is.
Yeah.
These most important life-altering decisions are usually made from the heart, not the mind.
That is so fabulous. Because it is so true.
Would anyone have children if they used their rational mind?
Do you have children?
Yeah, 2 kids, 30 and 33.
Okay. I know, but it's that's so interesting. I told you I'm writing this book, and I also only asked that question like one time. Somebody said, "Do you have regrets?" And I thought, nobody's ever asked me that question, but I thought, yeah, one of the answers, Steve, was yes, I regret wasting so much energy on trying to lose 10 pounds.
Yeah.
And I look back on that and I'm like, are you kidding me?
Right.
And so, yeah,
So
that's,
in other words, and the omission is what you were unable to do was to accept yourself.
mhm.
Another question is, what do you want on your headstone? What do you want your epitaph to be?
Oh,
I have never seen a headstone that says, I lost 10 pounds.
I know.
Nobody
I
cares.
know. Nobody
Nobody
cares,
cares what your jean size is.
right?
Nobody cares what your zip code is. Nobody cares what your grandchild's GPA is. Nobody
Right.
cares about your net worth. At the end of the day, you know what's on everyone's headstone? Loving wife, mother, grandmother, friend. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It all comes down to a tiny handful of relationships that matter, and none of us have more than a tiny handful. Now, the question is, do we live that way? When I answer this question in the book and I say, I want my headstone to read loving husband, father, grandfather, brother, and friend, and I haven't called my sister in 8 months, really?
Oh,
Am I living my truth? And the answer is no. And I have some
yeah.
thinking to do. So these exercises, these questions force a kind of essentialist thinking on us that's very enlightening.
Wow. Yeah, that is, and we're working with aging but dangerous women, and it's, we're all getting older, and I, at my age, of course, has been through, that old saying, been there, done that, and got the t-shirt. So I work in this little clothing store for, a couple days a week, and this woman I was trying to talk her into, this t-shirt had a little sequins on it, and she'd never done anything like that. She's 72
Yeah.
years old. I've never worn anything like this, Jean. And I said, but it's, what do you think? And I said, how do you feel in it? And she said, well, I feel kind of good and it's kind of fun. And I'm like, but what about these little veins? And I'm like, Julie, we are all over the veins. We're all over the wrinkles. We are all over all that stuff.
Yeah.
You wear that little shirt and you've had fun. And then when she left, she said, oh, you've made me so happy. And I said, well, when you wear that little t-shirt with those sparkles, I want you to think about me. So, it's like I try to connect with these women and just say, it's just so much about feeling, Steve.
and
And
overcoming
feeling
over
means the
yes.
heart, right?
Yes, it does. And overcoming this self-judgment and fear of the judgment of others. And
Yeah,
because you know what most people think about us, Gene? They don't.
yeah,
You know what
yeah,
most people think about you? They don't.
yeah,
So
yeah,
live your life.
yeah, yeah. So important.
And by the way, the
How-
people who mind how you live, they don't matter.
Yeah,
And the people who matter don't mind.
I know. And I was just like, I remember interviewing somebody one time that was like, the clutter, the whole clutter thing, all the stuff that we have that's so important to us, our kids don't want.
There's a chapter in my book. The book is called The Beauty of What Remains.
Yeah.
And about essentialism and what really matters. And there's a chapter in that book. The title of the chapter is Nobody Wants Your Crap.
I know that
And
is so true, Steve. And
and
we
the
have like
double entendre is intended. They don't want your emotional crap, and they don't want
yeah,
your stuff. And
I
here's
know.
the sad irony is, and we all fall into this trap to some degree. We spend so much of our time working to make money, to buy things that nobody wants.
I know. I know. And you don't realize that, I don't think, Steve, until you get older,
That's correct.
and then I mean, we have this expensive art, we have all this stuff. We have an only child. I mean, she doesn't want any of it. I
I
mean,
know.
and
And
that's okay. That's
one of
okay.
the saddest images I have in the aftermath of my father's death was going down into the basement of their townhouse and seeing all my father's stuff in a heap on the basement floor.
Oh,
Nobody wanted it.
yeah,
Goodwill didn't want it.
yeah,
And my dad was not a materialistic person. He always understood this. And I have only two things from my dad, and neither one of them is worth $5.
hmm,
Two material things. I have so many
yeah.
emotional things.
Oh,
But
yeah, yeah,
I have only two material things from my father. That's it.
yeah.
I have this. I keep it on my desk here at home. I have this, which is the ruler, old-fashioned ruler from
Oh my gosh, I love it. Yeah,
his
yeah,
toolbox, because
yeah,
this reminds me of working with him.
yeah,
I was like the scrub nurse, like, hand me the wrench, hand me the pliers, hand me the screwdriver, hand me the
yeah,
ruler. And so
yeah,
this just reminds me of how old school my dad was.
yeah,
This is before tape measures.
yeah, yeah,
And it also reminds me of to be like straight and true and honest,
yeah.
which my father taught me.
Mm-hmm.
Then I have his hat that he wore in the desert in Palm Springs with all his sunscreen all over, so he wouldn't fry. And
Yeah,
neither one of them would get you $5 on eBay.
yeah,
But
yeah,
to me, they're priceless because they're
yeah.
not really things. They remind me of journeys, of moments.
Journeys. Yeah. Um, Steve, I'm telling you, I know you, I know you are such a busy man. I know that this was, that you made room for us for this interview,
I'm
but,
happy to do it.
but is there any way, I mean, I can pray to God and I can do all kinds of stuff, but is there any way that we could get you back to talk about some of these other books if we keep it at a reasonable time and
Yes, of
you
course.
have time to do it?
Yeah, yeah.
Because every single one of these subjects is just so important to us. And I will keep it to a limit. I mean, I can do that, I can respect your time. And I could do whatever you need, but I just think you are such a resource. And I know you're the type of person that is willing to share, you know, your
Yeah,
knowledge.
I'll do
And
what I can. And next time, I probably won't have a martini, but I'll have a scotch. How's that?
oh, that's great. I love it.
I like a nice old peaty scotch, so I'll join
Oh,
you,
good
but
for
it'll be
you.
scotch, okay?
Okay, good for you. But so we can get in touch with you again, because I just think I just, I just get chills. And of course, I am so much older than the whole rest of the world. I have to tell you, my dad lived to be 105 and was healthy
Wow.
right up until 2 weeks before. So I
Wow.
think I'm going to have
Good
a
for
long
you.
life. Yeah,
Good
I'm
for
gonna have a
you.
long life. But I just want these women, these followers, to really understand some of these things. And as we're aging, yeah, we're dangerous because we got a lot of stuff to do and we got a lot of things. I mean, my bucket list, I told my doctor, you got to you got to take care of me till I'm at least 100, because I got a long bucket list left.
Good for you.
So, we have to encourage this whole aging process, and all these books are so perfect for that, Steve. And you are so casual, and you are so, I love you in your little t-shirt and your little whatever. And I can't tell that you didn't shave, but you told me that before, but I can't. So let's do it again.
Yeah, reach back out, okay? And
Yeah,
we'll do our
because I
best to
kind of
make it work.
yeah, because I kind of screwed up like I do
That's all
on
right.
this technology
Have
stuff.
you,
I am
as they
so
say in
sorry.
Hollywood, where I live, have your people call my people, okay?
Yeah, I know. I should get, I mean, I need to paste that on my wall, except I don't have people. It's like,
Yeah, I have one person.
oh, that's perfect. That's perfect. Well,
All
I
right, my friend.
love talking to you, and I hate to even cut it off short, but I know our listeners, they don't, they don't stick around for a long time. But if I would love for us to get in touch with you again,
Sure.
and we can talk, because this is such an important subject.
You got it. Have a beautiful
And
weekend.
yeah, well, you have a beautiful weekend, my friend. And next time you're
Next time I'll join you. All right.
and
Bye bye, Gene.
don't dress up. Wear your cute
No.
little t-shirt.
All
Okay.
right.
All
All
right.
right. Great to
All
talk
right.
to you, Gene. Bye
Okay.
bye.
Kisses. Bye.